Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. And thank you so much for joining us today as we discuss how to supercharge your growth in 2022. For me, I think growth is one of the hottest topics around. We saw a ton of it in the past couple of years as e-commerce boomed during the pandemic. Would it have grown at a similar rate as more generations get comfortable with digital and consumers rely more and more on convenience? We'll never know. But what we do know is that the opportunity for growth for online retailers has been phenomenal and continues to be. More people are shopping online more regularly and with a more considered approach to who they buy from. I know personally, I know my DPD driver by name, and he now gets concerned when he doesn't see me at my front door for a while. If we fast forward to today, though, there are a number of external factors that are making future growth that little bit more uncertain. From the rising cost of living here in the UK to the increase in interest rates promised by the Federal Reserve in the US, consumer confidence is unfortunately starting to take a little bit of a hit. And that's before we think about things like the increased costs and the delays across the supply chain. And in this uncertainty, it can be difficult to know what to prioritize. Do you focus on acquisition and getting new customers through the door for that first purchase? Or do you focus on getting the customers who have shopped with you before back onto your site? We're here today to reassure you that despite a pretty unrelenting and depressing news agenda at the moment, it's not all doom and gloom. We're going to be talking through the different ways that you can run acquisition and retention strategies alongside each other and even use them in an integrated way in order to create profitable, sustainable growth. So at this point, I'm really pleased to introduce our experts for the day. Probably should have introduced myself already, so apologies for that. I'm Janice Stevens, Head of Marketing at LoyaltyLion. For those who don't know us already, we're a data-driven loyalty and engagement platform powering growth for e-commerce businesses around the world. We really believe that loyalty and retention is the key to driving sustainable growth, and that loyalty data and insights can be really successfully integrated to add power to all of your marketing tools and channels. I'm also joined by Natalie, who is Strategic Tech Partner Manager at Klavio, and Ricky, who is the Business Growth Manager at Meta. Natalie, I'll hand over to you first to introduce yourself.
Yes, perfect. Great. It's really great to see the show up that we have today. I'm Natalie Yamabu. Yes, I'm Strategic Tech Partnership Manager here at Klavio. And really what that entails is the way I help tech partners leverage Klavio as a unified platform to drive more acquisition, drive better retention, but equally look at personalization, how to build more conversion. So our platform is unified. For those that don't know, I'll just give you a highlight of what we are and really our philosophy here.
Fantastic, thank you. And Ricky, over to you.
Thank you very much, Fiona. So my name is Ricky. 2.5 years at Facebook, working as a business growth manager, consulting the fastest growing startups and e-commerce in Spain and Portugal, and very happy to be here.
Fantastic. So now we all know each other, we'll get straight into the meat of the webinar. If you have questions for our speakers, then we will get to them at the end of the session, and feel free to drop them either into the chat or into the Q&A. For now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Ricky, you're up first, so I'll leave you to get started on your presentation.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
We can, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to both Klaviyo and LoyaltyLion for inviting us. As I said before, my name is Ricky, working at Facebook as a startup and e-com business development manager for more than 2 years and a half. And today I will walk you through the power of discovery commerce across our platforms. So let me start by saying how obviously in our internet economy, choice and options are bountiful, so we can see, watch, listen to, buy anything we've ever wanted, and all thanks to the disruptive technologies that are removing barriers to access. Today, everything is available on demand with more variety and more buying options than ever before, and the so-called shop floor is now infinite. So on this infinite shelf, the big question is, how do people actually discover and eventually purchase your brands and products? So search and commerce are great at fulfilling demand when intent it's already there, but not as effective at generating that demand. And this has traditionally been the realm of brand marketing. Valued at a 5 trillion market, intent commerce is undoubtedly a huge opportunity. But with consumer spending at 50 times bigger the value of e-commerce spending, the opportunity for demand generation is even bigger. So put simply, the bigger opportunity is not in capturing the consumer's wants or their intent, but rather in creating that intent. So while meeting demand is still critical in order to drive business growth, obviously, it's never been more important to also create this demand by embracing most modern marketing practices. So as you can see in the slide, we come from what we call people find products, traditional e-commerce, to what we name discovery commerce, which is products find people. So as a result, we see more and more businesses actually embracing channels that offer more personalized and engaging shopping experience. As you can see here, through community-based web series, virtual beauty festivals, or special interior designs with augmented reality. But don't forget that motivations that drive commerce are human, and that's how they've been for a long time. But nowadays, we are currently seeing how modern shoppers have timeless expectations. So they actually seek for engagement through live shopping, for example, through community and connection via customer service, through inspiration and imagination via an augmented reality try-on filter, to anticipation and occasion through product drops, and accessibility and convenience, of course, through cross-border business purchases. So this has generated a change in shopping habits from people going shopping to actually people having this, what we call always shopping mentality. So from understanding shopping as a routine, functional, and intent-based experience to actually understanding shopping as a serendipitous, curated, and much more integrated into our daily digital life as an activity. So as a result, obviously, the customer shopping journey is also changing, with shopper actually having the ability to go from discovery to purchase in just a few taps, rather than having to go always through consideration and research, as you can see on the slide. And yet, this discovery commerce effectively happens across meta technologies, as you can see here, an example across Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp. So we say that our existing ad solutions, as well as our investments in shopping, they all work together as a discovery commerce system. That's the way we call it. It's an end-to-end integrated solution that helps build demand for businesses by actually matching products to people, which is what I was mentioning before. So now let's walk through a look at the 4 components of the system so that you can really understand how they each work in order to drive demand and growth for your business. I'll dive a bit more deeply as well into the advertising and conversion tools, since this is an area that we are really excited about for a long time. So let me start by personalization. The personalization engine is the foundation of our system. It's based on signals, it's based on optimization, and it's based as well on liquidity solution, which is basically using as many placements as possible of all our platforms to let the algorithm find the audience at the placement with the lowest cost. So in terms of personalization, I'm just going to show you a couple of examples of current advertisers that have leveraged this pillar. For instance, we have M&M, who actually amplified Halloween special deals by leveraging retailer data of Carrefour with a 25% in clicks to the M&M shop. Then we have as well Monster Energy, who embraced a buying strategy across objectives, trying both brand and sales outcome, the so-called performance branding or brand performance strategy that actually had a 9.2 lift in sales. And we have as well Dodo Australia, where they improved measurement and performance with the Meta Conversions API, our server-to-server integration to increase the signals that currently businesses receive via Pixel, and with an outstanding result of 23% higher conversion rate. And we also have Kentucky Fried Chicken, who promoted online delivery and takeaway services with dynamic ads to make sure that actually people were seeing the product, in this case, the meal that they were more interested in, with as well outstanding results, 84% more in-app purchases. So going on to the second pillar of our discovery commerce system, we have actually engaging surfaces in order to deliver curated creative experiences to people where they are already spending time. And here we obviously recommend adapting mobile-first formats. For instance, we have Pepsi, as you can see here, showcasing a mobile-first creative across multiple surfaces with a 7.6 return on campaign ad spend. And here we can see as well KitKat, having an ad for Instagram stories, how they leverage actually vivid colors, motion, text overlays in order to stand out from the crowd, which is obviously one of the more important things to take into account when running ads across our platforms, and outstanding results with 3x lift in online sales. And also we have ASICS here, embracing video ads specifically built for mobile devices, and also ASUS France, highlighting the various ways a product could be used by clearly showcasing the product benefits. And then going on to the third pillar of our discovery commerce system, we have advertising and conversion tools that effectively allow people to discover and buy easily. So running from ads to on-site, off-site, and offline conversions. So we have this example of Oris Swiss watches. They reach multiple countries with a single localized product catalog and multi-language dynamic ads to actually make sure that people were seeing the product in the right currency, in the right language, depending on which country they were in. And the result was a 47% decrease in cost per checkout. And also Kills Malaysia, who utilized ads and messaging solutions to create a seamless online shopping experience, with 60% of online sales earned during the campaign actually attributed to Shops, Messenger, and as well Instagram Direct. So yeah, this brings us to Shops. Shops, it's one of the biggest steps we've taken to enable commerce across Meta Technologies on the last quarters. It's your new digital storefront for customers to access all our solutions. So as you can see in the slide, there are now 250 million consumers visiting Shops across Meta Technologies each month. And above Shops, we also have the opportunity of sharing shop links in message threads, as you can see the example, answering to customer doubts by sharing specific products in order for customers to find the right answers and the right products to buy. We also have other tools such as live shopping. Obviously, brands are leaning into live shopping because there's a big opportunity over there. 800 million daily active users across Facebook and Instagram Live. And global live stream shopping sales are actually expected to reach $500 billion by 2023. And as you can see here, live shopping on Instagram, right now it's only available in the US. And that brings us to augmented reality in dynamic ads to actually not only show the right product to the right people, but allow actually users to try that preferred product on the ad. That's actually coming very soon. And finally, checkout on Facebook and Instagram. That's currently only available in the US, but effectively it allows consumer to buy inside the app. And yeah, that brings us to our fourth pillar, which is optimization and measurement tools in order to actually confirm campaign effectiveness throughout the customer journey via A/B testing, via conversion lifts, or via running different attribution models. So I'm just coming to this couple examples. Shopify, for instance, running split testing in order to identify optimization events for customer acquisition with a 16% lift in customer acquisition. And actually Nectar Sleep, who went one step beyond by adding this marketing mix modeling to optimize its media budget allocation and resulting in a 20% increase in revenue. So this comes to our vision, which is being the most relevant place to discover and shop online, delivering meaningful experiences, not only for people, but also for community and businesses. And whilst these newest innovations are very exciting for the majority of the businesses, the right solution to help drive outcomes for your business will be the proven solutions across this discovery commerce system. As I said before, going from personalization engine to engaging surfaces to advertising and conversion tools, and finally through optimization and measurement solutions. So this is what it looks today, and that's how we actually aspire to build for the future by investing more, obviously, into the metaverse. So yeah, that's the way we believe that our platforms can really add value for businesses, for discovery and client acquisition. And I'm passing it into Fiona and Nathalie to hear from how to leverage their tools for retention marketing. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ricky. I have to say it works. I want to buy everything I saw on screen just then, from a mattress to a Kit Kat. Pretty much everything got me. So Fantastic, thank you. And Natalie, we'll hand straight over to you.
Thank you. Well, everyone, thank you for showing interest, joining us and getting to know a little bit more how to drive retention. For those that that didn't join at the beginning, because I do see that our numbers have got up to 70 up, please. I'm Natalie. I'm a strategic tech partnership manager here at Klavio, and what that entails is that our customer platform is a connected platform, and I enable our tech partners to connect our platform to provide an omni-channel experience, but also to personalize experience for more conversion and more sales. This is really our bread and butter. I don't know how many people are aware of what we do or even know Klavio, because I know we're presenting to maybe a region that is not so familiar with our product. That said, maybe get to just circle back a little bit just to explain what our philosophy is. And none better than our own founder and CEO, Andrew Bielecki. So it is true. I'm a former marketing manager. I worked as a marketing manager for an IBM partner for 4.5 years. And seriously, I've never seen a data platform like ours. So marketing software in its own world was not built to ingest and analyze all of our customer data and provide a way to act upon it until Klavio. So let's go to analyze a little bit what we mean by being a data platform. Yes, we do email marketing, but the design and how we started doing email marketing by focusing very heavily on data. For us, data is incremental to build the right experiences, to build experiences that matter to your customers, but also at the right channel. We do it via email. We also do it via SMS in certain region and in-app for Android. That's not to say, sorry, for iOS, but that's not to say Android can't be done with our tech partners, which we have. How do we give our customers, so we're talking about 265,000 and counting customers that trust us by leveraging their communication. And these customers are spreading to 82 countries, okay? These customers trust us because the level of data is easily accessible through segmentation. Our segmentation is very drilled down. If you want more information, yes, we can send it to you. But essentially, as a company that drives on data, our data lives forever. It means that we don't delete data. Over time, as you are a customer within a certain vertical, whether it be fashion, food, you name it, we benchmark our customers based on certain behaviors, characteristics, based on their industry, but also based on their sending volume, the average, the ARR, so the GMV per year, what they make, and based on their sending practices, we start giving them recommendation of areas they need to improve to really be stacking up right up there in their peer group. So let's go on to the next stage. We talked about, yes, we are a data platform driving marketing and personalized communication. For some marketeers, and there might be some marketeers here in the webinar, own marketing is a principle in marketing, so everybody knows. But our mission really is to empower our brands to really own that customer data so that they can influence the experience better and then provide the right communication in the right channel of delivery. Obviously, we do rely on our partners, our partner network. Today we're presenting here with Meta, we're here with LoyaltyLion for a reason, because we partner together. How does that look like, a partnership with the likes of LoyaltyLion and with the likes of Facebook and Instagram? Our integration, or our aim, is to track all of our customers throughout the entire journey. We start and we rely very heavily on our brands driving traffic to their website, because on their website, that be a Google search, Google ads, or Facebook ads that are pushing the intent to go to the website to drive more engagement, well, we connect, or we place areas that it be on the homepage, but people forget, category pages where people spend much more time, just a reminder to be enticed in receiving information about us. It's your time to show why your customer should be connected to your brand and follow up on a regular basis as to what you're releasing as new product, but also what you stand for as a brand. Email is a channel that we control, because we're not blasters. I think that's the one thing that you'll notice as a Klavio customers. We tell our customers not to blast. This is not going to drive you more revenue. Through segmentation, we know who your customers purchase the most, who are the most loyal customers. On the basis of that, we're able to run strategies for retention, but winning back. And I'll explain to you in what way. I think the strength here is also, just remember, yes, we're email, but we can fall back on in-app messaging, but we'll also fall back to SMS. So if you are in an automation, and let's say you send an email because someone abandoned or received an upsell, a cross-sell email, but has not read it perhaps on an email, you can fall back and say, let me send an SMS just to remind them that a promotion is on there. So I think that Tango is something that is quite specific and special to us. And we do it so easily just because we connect to that data to analyze whether or not that data, that content has been received and fall back if it hasn't. I have to highlight, we are known to be very well integrated with Shopify, but we support many e-com integration, and to go on Magento, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, PrestaShop in France and Iberia, but also Shopware in the DACH region. We're in this webinar with our two main partners, and why is it important for me to highlight for maybe customers that are in this meeting but aren't aware how they can push their segmentation and drive better conversion with their Facebook ads. So two real use cases before I go to the bread and butter. The main use case is a lookalike model. All right, why is a lookalike model important? So for a normal e-commerce website, 41% of their revenue is really generated by 18% of that customer base. And that customer base are your loyal customers. So a really high spender, a loyal customer, can be built for different criteria of segmentation. So that criteria be the average number of orders, slightly higher than the norm, the average amount of revenue that they spend overall time, but also looking at returns, because a high return rate is definitely not a customer that should qualify as a loyal customer. Okay. So on the basis of that, what we do is that we take that segment from Klavio and we push it through the Facebook Business Manager to tell Facebook Business Manager to really tailor its audience segmentation to bring an audience that looks like your high spender. And let's say this is a feature that most of our customers adore just because they're really good conversion rates. And bear in mind, the Facebook ads can be just a engagement channel, but it can also drive leads. And we just look, some of our brands do like using that lead capture because it's also a way to collect consent. Now, second use case for you to bear in mind, winning back unengaged customers. A customer that you win back is 45% more likely to open your email. Okay. And also a customer that you have in your base is 5 times cheaper than going after a new one. So just, those are the stacks against you in a way. So bear in mind, it's good to understand your win back window. Yes, on average, we say it's a 6 month, 6 months, like your average in terms of customers that might be unengaged, have not surfed on your website, but also have not purchased. But I would say, and the best brands I've seen that do extremely well, in our segmentation, we're able to establish at which point your engaged segment reduces. So let's say you have an engaged segment based on frequency, RFM, recency, frequency, monetary value, and it's on the 30 days, you see that your purchase rate is the highest. On the after 30 days, it goes down. So your win back window is certainly not 6 months. That's your final win back window, you can say it, but your win back window will be after those 30 days to re-encourage your customer to make that purchase. Good stuff. So moving on, I hope this is quite fairly clear. If you have questions, we'll take it at the end. So if I go now to the bread and butter of what our presentation is about, it's about retention and building the right retention strategy. We have our retention partner here. They'll have their retention strategy that they can prove, and they're really strong. I will base my retention strategy on what you can achieve on Klavio. Okay, so Customers who have purchased from you twice before are 9 times, and I say 9 times, more likely to purchase from you again. So first-time buyers, you must really cherish them, because as they buy for the first time, hey, they might second guess their purchase. They might be tempted to cancel. So to prevent this, please post-purchase emails. It's such a simple thing, but they're hugely, hugely important. And guess what? Post-purchase emails, they drive 2.8x in terms of conversion, click rate, than a normal marketing email would. Why are they important? First, they tempt your customers to come back to their site because we want them to be active and keep browsing through that website and creating new customer journeys for us to trigger new flows. And then the other is because it lays the groundwork for that second purchase, that incremental purchase that makes them more likely to buy from you again, okay? And it's also a way to collect feedback. Feedback is extremely important when you're doing social proofing. That means encouraging someone that's just browsing the email, abandoning at that site and telling them, hey guy, I've got something here for you that you might be interested in, but maybe skewing it a little bit with someone that browse the same item, telling them how fantastic that item is to encourage them to make that second purchase. So we do have 2 categories in terms of post-purchase email, and I'll focus on nurture post-purchase email. And the second one would be those that are creating conversions. So nurture post-purchase email, thank you email, no-brainer. No-brainer, it is a thank you email. Just acknowledging someone that's purchased from you is key. This is a simple one, but let me tell you, in your post-purchase email, do some little of personalization. Yes, the name is important. You can also use custom blocks like dynamic blocks on the bottom, just to recommend maybe trending products or bestsellers to push that customer to go back and embark on a new experience on your website. Okay. Next, we have, the concierge service. We're available to help. Yes, I don't use a concierge service as yet, but I do use them when I have an issue. And when it's there, I love going to it. So if that's available to you, just let them know about it. Just let them know that, there's that special touch that they can have if they need anything. People like to be valorized. The other thing is that educational content. I couldn't stress more on this. It doesn't mean because here we have an example of a plant and here how to care for your plant, but things like even shoes, how to care for your shoes, even if you have leather shoes, if you have trainings, for example. We have a company here providing really wicked trainers, and they have a marketplace. And what they do is that they have like shoe polishers and shoe care that they send out emails to their customers after the purchase. And you'd be surprised the engagement rate we get with these customers, because these customers will buy into what your brand is, but also buy into how to wear your brand effectively. If you're happy with this slide, let's now go on to post-purchase tactics that help you drive more conversion. So our first is obviously like the time-sensitive discounts. I am a sucker for those. I love any brand that remembers that I bought something and gives me not a week, because I think it's just too pushy, but a 2-week window to use that discount effectively. Some brands just can't afford discounting more heavily, so that they have free samples, for example. These are things that you can share with your customer, free samples of a bestseller to entice the customer to look into that product, buy that product over time, and create that second purchase as you saw the verve and you saw working hard for. Cross-sell emails are amazing. I know some stores can be very complicated. There are a lot of products, and you don't always know what cross-sells, but most of the time you do know what your best sellers are, and you do know the correlation of what one person buys and what he buys next. So don't forget to tell him what he can buy next. And this is a post-purchase flow. The cross-sell flow is also a flow to extend your automation. Because when you're building your campaigns drive a lot more, work for marketeers, because yes, they have to draft the messaging, they have to look at the product that will sell, they have to push it out there. But automation is based on their actual journey themselves. So it's something that they expect. So when this is pushed, the welcome series, because they subscribe, they abandon a cart, then the cart abandonment comes up. That cross-sell is another email for you that sits in the background, keeps running, and actually create the conversion that you want. You might not be a subscription business, but subscription doesn't need to be only for subscription businesses. That's why replenishing flows are flows that I really like very much. Here we have obviously a product, and we have many beauty products here. Let's say you bought a soap. Of course, there's some creams. We are able to personalize with partners that are able to tell us, if you're dry skin versus a synthesis skin, which products would be the right products to accompany you, and then recommend them. But in the cross-sell flow for replenishment, you as a company or a brand, you will know certain products and what their lifetime is. If I bought a shampoo, we have a shampoo company, because I used to be customer success. What they'll do is that after 3.5 months, going 4 months, you know that your shampoo is going to run out. Boom, hit them that time window with that reminder of, hey, you might be running out. Why not considering this, your refilling, something like that. So really, these are the small tactics that I want to enable you with. I hope they've been, helpful. And yes, again, happy to answer any question at the end. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Natalie. I have to say, one of my biggest regrets in life is that I'm a B2B marketer, not B2C, because I think there's so much amazing stuff you can do with Klavio. I'd love to give it a go. Okay, over to me. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. There we go. So there's no disputing the fact that over the past 20 years or so, we could have described things as a golden age in the e-commerce space. The launch of all these self-service platforms like Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento have seen the world of online retail change beyond recognition as e-commerce has become accessible to so many more people. But it wasn't just e-commerce that became accessible, it was customer data too. So from the introduction of cookies right back in the 90s to the ever-growing collection of affordable digital acquisition channels, Facebook ads in 2007, right through to TikTok in 2016, marketers have been able to unlock a treasure trove of individual user data. And that data, as you've seen already in these presentations, has become the basis for so much digital marketing activity, from retargeting ads all the way through to things like abandoned cart emails as well. But if we fast forward to 2022, today, that window of opportunity is closing. So looking back within the first year of GDPR in the UK or the EU, changes that took place in 2018, 144,000 complaints were filed by consumers who felt that their data was being used incorrectly. More recently, we have the iOS updates that have hit in 2021, which led to, within the first month, 96% of US users opting out of that app tracking. Unfortunately, the chances are that this window of opportunity is going to close still further in the coming years as the cookie apocalypse changes that game once again and prevents that third-party tracking. So consumers are going to continue to opt out, and as a result, the traditional use of these channels could become less rewarding. However, today, changing data and privacy behaviors, we're at the beginning of another new phase of e-commerce. As I already mentioned, we're calling this opt-out era. Customers are continuing to be more selective about the brands that they share their data with, and marketers who fail to adapt to that, unfortunately, could be left to pay the price. You'll spend more to reach and acquire new customers, but you won't be able to collect the data that you need to deliver them the personalized experiences that will retain them, that will build relationships with them, and that will grow their customer lifetime value. The data that you need to do all those Meta and Klaviyo tactics that we've just talked about so successfully. So to be a winner in this opt-out era, you have to be thinking about all the different growth routes available to you. It's not enough to be just topping up your online footfall with customers that you've attracted with a special offer or an introductory discount. You also need to be focusing on the customers that you have, the customers that already have a high propensity to repeat purchase and a higher average order value, the customers who could also be acting as an extremely cost-effective acquisition channel for you as well. What I'm really talking about here is your insider community. Now, Natalie's actually set me up beautifully with some great stats around how your loyal customers or your existing customers are more valuable. But these are your insider community. These are the customers who are your biggest brand fans. They're happy to share their data with you for personalized experiences in return. They have more brand loyalty and they're more willing to act as advocates as well. So those shoppers are your most effective growth lever in the opt-out era because they represent the top 20% of your customers who are typically responsible for at least 50% of your revenue. And the brands that are winning and growing at this time are making those insiders feel really special, but they're also doing a lot to move more of their customer segments into that cohort as well. Natalie talked about first-time buyers. They may be what we call drifters or lurkers that are just kind of following in the background, but not quite ready to really engage in your community. So what can you be doing to move those people into insider status? Unfortunately, we can't anymore just leave these people up to share leave it up to them to share their personal data off their own backs. We need to motivate them to want to share that data and then to show the rest of your customers that it's worth their while to do the same thing. But how do you do that? We have 3 of our top suggestions here. First and foremost, it's about making sure that you've integrated the tools in your tech stack. So Natalie highlighted our tech partner integration landscape really nicely. Essentially, if you can access your loyalty data everywhere and you can pass it between platforms, then you can be using it really effectively to drive more personalized experiences across every marketing channel that you're using. For example, make sure that you've connected your loyalty program up with your ESP and your SMS providers so that you can be using things like points balances and tier statuses to personalize those comms every time. The examples you can see here, Amora Coffee send out point summary emails that show customers how many loyalty points they've earned and the rewards that are already available to them. These personalized emails tend to have a 20 times higher click-through rate than regular marketing emails. And that's because of the tailored information that they have inside. Some of our brands have also reported that when they send SMS messages that include data from their loyalty programs, these texts get click rates of around 25% and conversion rates of over 9%. So you really will see a difference here. But you can also be using your loyalty program to incentivize your customers to actually give you more of their zero-party data. For example, giving them additional opportunities to earn points by perhaps taking an on-site quiz. Edgard and Cooper, another example shown here, they incentivize their customers with loyalty points for filling out what's called their pet profile. So if you tell them your pet's name and how often they eat, perhaps things like the breed, even the activity levels, they can then use that information to personalize their comms with product recommendations and really relevant content pieces as well. Perhaps instead of getting an article about how to groom your dog, you get an article about how to groom your Australian sheepdog, if that is the breed of dog that you have. So connecting your tech stack this way makes it so much easier to deliver those personalized experiences that your insider community responds to best. And in turn, that keeps them coming back and increases their lifetime value. And the more they shout about those experiences, the more other shoppers will feel motivated to complete those actions to move into your insider segment. At the same time, you get more power and return out of each of your marketing tools and tactics because you're using a multitude of data to optimize their performance and you're delivering those personalized bits of content that keep customers opted in. Our second tip is to make sure that you're aligning emotionally with your insider customers. We talk a lot about conscious consumerism today. It's hot on the agenda and it's not going anywhere. 90% of millennials will buy from a brand if they believe that their social and environmental claims are true and real. And they will absolutely boycott brands that they believe to be greenwashing or not living up to their claims. So to grow that insider community and keep your customers opted in, you need to show how you're emotionally aligning with them. If they see that you're like-minded and you're genuine, they'll want to keep sharing their data with you. You can use a loyalty program to show people that you support these causes that are important to them. One of my favorite examples here on screen is Astrid and Miu. So as you can see here, they have a silver recycling program where members get 1,000 points for recycling their unwanted jewelry. And this allows customers to feel like they're living more sustainably rather than being part of a throwaway society, which is becoming more and more important to consumers these days. We've actually got a number of brands who are doing this really nicely. We have beauty brands who offer points to people who recycle their packaging. We have dog food suppliers who allow customers to redeem rewards in the form of donations to dog shelters. Lots of things that are really just reflecting their brand values and the values that they claim to live by. And it's great to see how well that's actually resonating with customers and what a difference it makes to their propensity to opt in and to share their information in order to find out and contribute more. Another way that I'd really like to see brands driving this emotional connection is actually to get your insider community involved in the direction of your brand. You can see here, Pulse Boutique's customers in the higher tiers of their program have the option to actually vote on products. And this gives them a feeling of involvement and investment and emotional connection, which again, just keeps them opted in and unlikely to shop elsewhere. If they're shaping the products that they're actually going to buy in future, they're going to keep coming back time and time again. So finally, our third tip is all about getting your insider community to drive growth for you by acting as an acquisition channel in itself. As you can see on screen here, lots of brands like Anne-Marie Skincare and Nude are actually using their loyalty program to incentivize their insider community to refer their friends and family. Data shows that 92% of shoppers trust recommendations from people they know over other forms of advertising. So with this approach, not only are loyal customers more likely to complete the referral as they earn points in return, but referred customers are far more likely to trust your brand and A, complete a purchase, and B, feel comfortable sharing their data with you longer term. So you'll benefit not just from getting in front of new customers at a time when they may not be so prone to window shopping, but also from that increased level of trust that makes it far easier to persuade them to share their data with you, which in turn means you'll be able to use that data to deliver the personalized experiences they need to return, repeat purchase, and become insiders themselves. So to summarize, as we continue further on into this opt-out era, the impact is going to become more pronounced, and it could become much harder to get the flow of customer data that you need to deliver great and unique shopping experiences. But your insider community could be the key to your continued growth. Not only are they opted in already and more likely to share their data, but their advocacy can grow into an extremely reliable source of revenue. We haven't gone into this presentation, but when you think about reviews, video testimonials, all the kind of user-generated content that you could actually be feeding into your ad strategy via Meta or your email strategy via Klavio, you know, the options are really endless. But how do you know that you're set up in a way that will help you to efficiently attract and retain those insiders? First of all, you need to ask yourself if your tools are talking to one another. Is your whole tech stack connected and sharing data so that you can work towards creating better experiences for your insiders across all of your marketing channels? Next, you need to think about whether there's someone in your business who's actually passionate about nurturing those insiders. Do you have a clear and accountable team member that prioritizes them and is an advocate for a retention strategy? Is there somebody responsible for the success of this, or will it fall by the wayside? Thirdly, ask yourself if you're tracking meaningful metrics and KPIs that will help you see how opted in your insider community actually is. Then you'll be able to see the impact that they're making on your bottom line, customer lifetime value, loyalty program enrollment, referral revenue. These are all good metrics to start with to see if your retention is making a difference. And finally, are you using the data and insights that feed into those metrics meaningfully within your marketing activity? Is that data being passed between platforms and deployed effectively to personalize experiences? If not, what do you need to do to change that? So that actually is it from me. Hopefully between the three of us, we've been able to give you some actionable things to look at over the coming weeks. We do have a few questions in our Q&A and plenty of time still to ask more, but we'll dig straight into those questions. Ricky, the first one will come to you. So May would like to know, they would really like to use Instagram and Facebook Shops, but they are a franchise company with a parent-child structure website, and they find it challenging to get approved and verified to set up the shops due to their URL structure. Are there any examples or case studies of franchise companies successfully leveraging shops that you could share? Might be one to follow up on after the session.
Yeah. I'll follow up on the session with more details. So first thing, I would recommend you checking our success stories on basically on our Facebook for Advertisers website, where you can see over there similar business model franchises, how they are leveraging shops and what was the impact on their business. And then from a more technical side, if there's any error on implementation, I would recommend you reaching out to our customer support team, who can effectively walk you through the right way to making the integration possible.
Fantastic, thank you. Natalie, one for you here. How is Klavio different from Salesforce Marketing Cloud?
I saw that question. Really good question. So we do compete. We do compete on that higher mid-market segment. There's a no-brainer. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, yes, has positioned itself as a B2B player and then purchase product to be able to do B2C. Salesforce Marketing Cloud is also built on Salesforce products, whereas our ecosystem is really built to have different other players, not just our own, our own platform. One thing you also have to bear in mind is that we do not, everyone, whether you're big or small, you have access to all of the features provided within the platform, unlike service being paid for this feature, other feature. We don't do that. We don't hide any cost. But yes, we compete. We are a powerful platform. I think that's why we're seeing big players looking at us, just because they might not want to pay the price of a Bentley, but have the engine of a Bentley, but the price maybe of a Fiat. Let's put it that way.
It's a very good analogy. I like it. Brilliant. Thank you. Ricky, another question for you. Bear with me. There's a lot of context here. So a question from Anthony. He has lots of clients who are early stage growth businesses, and common theme is that the cost per acquisition is rising, and they lack the resources to be really focused on the creatives and optimizing and testing those. Can you talk about some of the key changes you've noticed coming out of the pandemic that you think will become trends for early stage businesses to best retain attention and conversion?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would recommend starting on making sure that on the tech side, everything is set up correctly. Obviously the pixel, that's something for sure it's already working on your side, but I would actually recommend you to go one step further and go for Conversion API, which is our server to server integration that will be able to improve the signals that you're receiving from the pixel. That's key. And we have actually seen that advertisers who have implemented Conversion API in terms of performance, they've seen a huge improvement in terms of all KPIs. Then I would say the second step, actually, it's letting the algorithm optimize the campaign. So creating the campaigns as simple as possible and providing the more data, the better in terms of campaign ad sets and in the ad level. And on the third recommendation would be actually to go cross-border. We've seen this coming from a long time ago, just to make sure that you are able to see where's demand coming from in case you see that results are actually going on in a specific country. So go cross-border, leverage our cross-border solutions in order to find your best customers in several markets in order to be able to improve results.
Brilliant. Hopefully that answers your question, Anthony. Natalie, coming back to you, what's the best time and exact day, if you know it, to send post-purchase emails? I imagine this may differ depending on brand and product.
Yes, it does. It may differ, but honestly, a thank you email should be sent an hour max after the purchase. There's also, remember, when the item is being shipped, for example, that is with your local delivery. We have partnerships with the ShipBob, ShipStation, ShipIt, all the delivery type platforms to make sure that your emails, even from delivery, are branded with your brand and keeps that customer engaged and really tracking where the parcel is. So these will come as they are in that fulfillment stage. And when we talk about the other example of like nurture emails, right? When you have like a service, it's a concierge service. Generally, some brands will do it after 2 hours of sending it, but other brands wait a day just to create that other engagement with the customer.
Brilliant advice. Thank you. I know actually, there's nothing worse than not knowing where your order is and being left to wonder. So that communication is absolutely crucial. And back to Anthony, actually, this is perhaps more of a statement than a question, but it's one that I really resonates with me. And so he says, hobbies, interests, and preferences are all key to better understanding your customers, richer engagement, and increased loyalty. I think that ties back to the example I shared from Edgar & Cooper, finding ways to build these profiles around people. And obviously with them, it was pets. So it was more the breed and the characteristics of your pets. But there's so much opportunity for beauty brands or fashion brands to be operating along the same lines. If you can run these on-site quizzes and things that will give you insight into perhaps what somebody's skin type is or what their preferred hairstyles are, etc., then you can really start tailoring that content and feeding those characteristics back into Klaviyo for your emails, back into Meta so you can target your advertising, etc. I think it's actually one of the best things to come out of this opt-out era is the fact that people are going to find more innovative ways to collect the data and get more interesting data that they can use in a far more effective way. And so perhaps a positive to come out of a negative there. Fantastic. Next question we have, actually another one on loyalty. So what are the possibilities to share, connect, or integrate the received and collected data like reward points from LoyaltyLion with other CRM softwares like Salesforce? I would say that, yes, we typically integrate out of the box with Shopify, Shopify Plus, Magento, and BigCommerce, but we do have the ability to integrate with custom stores via API as well. So yeah, if you're interested in how that works from a custom store perspective, then one of our team will be really happy to take you through that in more detail. Great. Next question. What would you say that, this is an interesting one, what's the best way to calculate special offers and discounts for returning and existing customers in a way that protects profits? I think this is particularly relevant. We mentioned the rising cost of living and interest rates, etc., at the beginning of this session, and the default for brands is often to fall back on special offers and discounts. So Ricky and Natalie, interested to hear if you have any suggestions on how you can perhaps limit the use of those special offers and discounts and protect your bottom line a bit better.
Yeah, Ricky, I don't mind answering first. So great examples I've seen from our customers. There's one particular customer that sells what is compression socks, and really funky compression, or like your group, not the grandma compression sock type of thing. What they do, instead of retaining some of their margins, is that they offer discount on 2 to 4 purchases, and the more you double up, the less they lose in terms of their margin. I love that idea. Bundling is great.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think I was having this conversation this morning. Bundling actually almost gives people the satisfaction and the emotional joy that a buy one get one free or a 2 for 3 offer in the supermarket gives you. You can actually replicate quite a lot of that good feeling without having to necessarily give away the discount.
Yeah, and adding on to this, oh, sorry, Natalie.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, adding into this bundling option, one thing that we've been seeing that it's working, especially in other regions, especially on China, where obviously commerce is at a more developed stage, is group buying. So obviously, like having these discounts for in case you buy more products, but actually having the chance to encourage your customers to get with their friends to actually make like a big order of 5 to 6 to 7 products, and actually offering this discount, a huge discount, in case the group of friends is actually able to buy the 6 products. So like gamifying a little bit this second, third, fourth, 5 orders discounts via group buying. That's something that I've seen that it's working a lot in other regions, and that for sure it's going to come at some point into EMEA and obviously into the States.
That's really interesting. I'd never really thought about going shopping. Well, you go shopping with, as your slide said, the difference between going shopping and then
exactly.
sort of shopping all of the time. But I'd never thought of...
Yeah, bringing online the kind of group buying traditional activity that was done on retail when you go shopping with friends.
Amazing. That's really interesting. I think the gamification piece is, we see it a lot in loyalty program tiers and things like that, but it is very, very powerful. Fantastic. Thank you both. One more question here. Maybe not so easy to generalize, but what is the average setup time for a customer loyalty program for SMEs? Very good question. It does depend a lot on the structure of your program. We've seen people launch in days. We've seen people launch in months. It is easy to do it quickly, but I would say it's not worth rushing past the initial setup. You have to know what your goals are. You have to have thought about how your loyalty program is going to integrate with your other technology, with your other marketing activity. So the actual setup and launch can happen incredibly quickly, but it's not worth skipping over the setup and the sort of preparatory thinking, I would say. Brilliant. I think that is all the questions that we have here. So I'd just like to say a huge thank you to Natalie and Ricky for joining us today and for such interesting presentations. Certainly gave me a lot to think about. A recording will be available, so if you'd like to share any of these tips with your teams or revisit the content yourself, perhaps, then you will be able to do so shortly. All that remains is for me to say thank you to all of you for joining us and good luck with your growth strategies over the rest of 2022. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you very much, Fiona. Thank you very much, Natalie.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.